President Trump accusing former Attorney General Loretta Lynch of obstructing last year's email investigation into former Secretary of State and 2016 Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton by tweeting this. AG Lynch made law enforcement decisions for political purposes, gave Hillary Clinton a free pass and protection. Totally, he says, illegal. Joining me now, Tammy Bruce, Madison Gesiotto, and Ron Christie. Tammy, I'll start with you. You know, so we see the president tweeting about it, but that's not the only source of this information, right?
Yeah, look, there's, first of all, it's of course what Director Comey said, and there's an additional story of the fact that he then went back to her and confronted her with some information he had about a conversation between two other officials that confirmed that she was determined to have a beneficial impact for Hillary Clinton. And yet through all of this, through his own words and through other elements that we know, is that he in fact obeyed her order to change his verbiage, to change how he described the investigation. He told no one. He took no notes of those meetings. But
right. As opposed to his meetings with the president.
Yes, exactly. When he is determined that someone actually may be trying to interfere with the investigation. And that is the kind of thing, whereas I think it came up briefly today, those are the kinds of questions that I would have loved to have asked the current Attorney General about.
Well, and it was not. I mean, that particular question was not. Ron, to you, what do you make of this? I mean, to me, this is probably the most interesting line of argument, of conversation out of the last month, and yet it's not getting the kind of coverage it deserves. What do you say?
Absolutely. Good evening to you. I couldn't agree with you more on this. I think it's fascinating that the Democrats thought that James Comey was going to be their star witness, the one who was going to bring down the administration. And instead, from what it looks like for me, if there's not a clearer case of obstruction of justice of the Attorney General of the United States ordering the FBI director to misrepresent an investigation to try to help the Clinton campaign, I think that is extraordinarily significant and something that this current Attorney General, if he's not able to call her up to account for herself, and certainly Congress in their oversight capacity should take a look to see whether or not charges should be filed against Loretta Lynch.
Well, that brings up a great question, Madison. Where does this go next? I mean, will it be pursued in any specific way, in any aggressive way? I mean, look what's happened this week at Senate Intelligence. We've got everybody in the world up and testifying. Can this be pursued as well?
Sure. Well, I mean, let's start out by saying, is it not ironic that the former Attorney General was protecting Hillary Clinton, who was under criminal investigation by the FBI, and may now end up under criminal investigation herself? And what I think is very interesting about this right now is that we're seeing bipartisan support from senators on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Coming forward, Senator Feinstein from California, who's a Democratic senator, as well as senators like Senator Graham, who's a Republican senator, saying, you know, we want her to testify in front of our committee. We want answers.
Right.
I think some of those answers they could be looking for include, you know, whether there's more to the story than what Comey led on to last week, whether this relates back to that tarmac meeting between former President Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch, where they claimed to talk about grandkids and golf for 45 minutes.
Right. Well, and that's strained credulity, right? I wasn't buying that, Tammy. Yeah. Do you think this will be pursued at the end of the day, though? Because it seems to me that the Democrats are great at controlling the narrative, right? They are great at moving their issues forward, but when it comes to Republicans, for some reason, they can barely get a dinner party together.
Well, I think that's part of why the president's tweeting, because he knows those lead some of the discussion in the narrative. Obviously, the Congress is controlled by the Republicans. It's funny that you have to ask that, though, because it seems like the Republicans don't control anything.
Shouldn't be in charge, right?
And if Loretta Lynch, you know, Jeff Sessions asked for this hearing today to clear his name. That's a very serious charge against Loretta Lynch from Jim Comey. And she's been silent. She hasn't been out there saying, I need to clear my name. I want to come out and say, what is this bunk? We don't hear that. And that's, of course, fascinating as well. But it's in the hands of the Republicans. They have all the power to do it. Trey Gowdy is now in charge of the Oversight Committee. There's, you know, a lot of energy there. The president, I think, is signaling that it's not only he wants to have it seen, but for the American people, my goodness, it is about law and order and the rule of law applying to everyone, even the Democrats. They say they care about that.
Shocking. I don't know about that, Tammy.